presentation, we will talk about the effects of an EMP and how magnetics play a valuable role in them.
If an EMP were to get detonated within the blast radius of the bomb, everything within that area with a circuit board would not work. Today we will be talking about EMPs, which stands for Electromagnetic Pulse. Types of energy an EMP can be transmitted through. In this presentation, we will talk about all of the forms that involve magnetic energy. An EMP may be transferred in 4 forms: an electric field, magnetic field, electromagnetic radiation, and electrical conduction. And this is an EMP blast. Natural types of EMPs. Lightning magnetic pulse, commonly referred to as an LEMP, in which a discharge occurs followed by a train of energy decreasing. Electrostatic discharge. This is in result of 2 objects, both electrically charged, coming into contact with each other or within close proximity. And that is another picture of an EMP blast. Man-made types of EMPs. Power line surges. They can cause severe damage to electrical equipment, rendering it and make them completely inoperable. A small EMP can be sparked from one of these devices. Nuclear magnetic pulse. A nuclear EMP would most likely be caused by a terrorist-like attack, or if another country sparked a war with the United States or another country. Effects of EMP experiment. We used an EMP simulation on a website and did a little experiment with it. We wanted to see what would happen with different EMP sizes if they went off near Boise, Idaho. They are all from about 100 miles up. The independent variable would be the size of the EMP because it's what is being manipulated. The dependent variable would be the altitude because it's the response in the experiment that will be measured. And this is the effects of a small EMP, and this is all the pictures I'm going to be showing you are screenshots from the simulation, and they're all about 100 miles up, which is 528,000 feet. And you can see it affected a couple states around it. And now this is the effects of a medium EMP. Again, 100 miles up. And you can see the circle's quite larger, the area that it's affecting. Then we got the effects of a large EMP. And again, the area it's affecting is getting larger. And then the effects of a megaton EMP. Oh, that's a huge EMP blast. Effects of a multi-megaton EMP. That's like half the USA. Wouldn't want to see this happen anytime soon. Might be a good thing though, because people are a little obsessed with their electronics, and it'd be a wake-up call that we depend too much on electricity, you know what I mean? And electric fields. An electric field is an area around particles that are charged. Force is being put on other charged objects and particles. And we can compare Coulomb's law with magnetism because they are similar. And Coulomb's law, of course, is when like charges repel and unlike charges attract. And in this diagram, there's a proton and an electron. Magnetic fields. They are electric charges that move where which forces of magnetism are. It is an area around magnetic matter. So in this diagram, here's the North Pole and the South Pole on the magnet. Electromagnetic radiation. In electromagnetic radiation, there is visible light, radio waves, gamma rays, and X-rays. There are various magnetic and electric fields in the radiation. Here is a diagram. You can see the source coming in and the direction, and here's the electric field and the magnetic field. Electrical conduction. It is the movement of matter that is charged electrically through transmissions. An electric current can be formed because of the electric field. And here is the EMP lab procedures. Number 1, go to this particular URL. Number 2, use the website to come up with your answers for the lab questions. Number 3, use New York, California, and Florida as targets and simulate the number of states it would affect. Hypothesis and variables. What states do you think will be affected by the target you chose? What is the independent variable of this experiment? And last but not least, what is the dependent variable of this experiment? Observations. Number 1. Write down the effects of a small EMP if it were to impact one of the states listed in the procedure. What other states would it affect around it? And number 2, write down the effects of a medium EMP if it were to impact one of the states listed in the procedure. What other states would it affect around it? And number 3, write down the effects of a multi-megaton EMP if it were to impact, but pick your own state this time in the USA. What other states would it affect around it? Number 4, how do you protect something from an EMP? And for that, use an online resource for this step. Analysis. Number 1, what magnetic effects do you think an EMP causes on objects that are vulnerable? And that is the lab. And here's a fun fact. We have 1 out of 8 chance by 2020 of a solar flare causing an EMP wiping every electronic device on Earth. And that is the presentation, and here's the bibliography. Thank you for watching this.